Previously on Endangered.
Home sweet home. This was my mother's. She was French, you know. Met my father at the end of the Second World War. He was part of the group which liberated her town.
The rest appears to be a collection of memorabilia. This looks like a wedding photograph.
Indeed. We should collect all these items to take back to the ship.
It's a woman.
Your powers of observation never cease to amaze me, Mr. Hargreaves.
She's hot, too.
Why does my voice sound funny?
I think it might be best if we just picked one of these humans from birth and just monitored it every 9 or 10 of their Earth years. Ah, who's a cute little human then?
Hello, little man. Oh, I think you need changing.
It's still quite small, isn't it? My research into human development indicates it is just over halfway to maturity, although there is some evidence to suggest that a significant number of their young are still immature at a much later age.
What do they call their young?
It appears they call them puppies.
Puppies?
Yes. Shortly before I removed our specimen, one of the adults appeared to perform some sort of bathing ritual, and referred to it as a mucky puppy. I assume this is some form of religious incantation.
Was it in need of cleansing?
No. The bathing was limited to the face, concentrating on the removal of food deposits.
Perhaps the puppy was saving some of the food for later consumption.
No. It appears the puppy deliberately leaves the food deposits on its face in order to commence the ritual with the adult.
I wonder what purpose this ritual serves.
According to the scanner, the humans have started to play with toy rockets. A bit of it collided with us.
Is there any damage?
No. but I assume now they've started, they'll carry on doing this sort of thing. We might have to move further out to avoid detection.
How tiresome.
Hey, babe. Come in here and watch this. They're going to the moon.
11.
Be quick,
10,
or you'll miss it.
9.
Hang on a minute, Chris.
Sequence start.
I'm in the loo.
The engines are armed. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have commit. We have liftoff. Liftoff at 7:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Phew. Are you having a hard time, babe?
Hey, Chris, can you just... Chris? Where are you, Chris? Typical man. Watches a bit of TV and then off down the pub.
That last one was a bit close.
Yes, now that our human is sharing a small living space with another human, it is proving difficult to find it alone.
It's a proximity detector. What could be out there?
These humans are getting more adventurous with their toy rockets. Engage the cloak.
They have progressed quite rapidly in a short time.
Maybe Boss was correct. Perhaps it won't be long before they are visiting the other planets in this system.
What? You mean we're going to have to park even further away from this silly little planet?
Chris, can you come and give me a hand in the kitchen?
This year's Nobel Peace Prize has been jointly awarded to Mohammed Anwar al-Sadat and Menachem Begin for their agreements on peace in the Middle East and on peace between Egypt and Israel, which were signed at Camp David on the 17th of September.
Chris! Michael, do you know where your father is? Michael, have you missed yourself again?
Now that our human has its own puppy, its mate has become distracted, making it much easier to perform the extraction.
Mate?
Yes.
Not mates?
No. Human reproduction involves just two genders.
That's disgusting.
It might seem unusual to us, but it seems most of the species on this planet are the same.
I can't even work out which is which. They all look the same to me.
Oh, it's quite easy to tell them apart. This illustration should make it clear.
These creatures do have a very simple genetic makeup, don't they?
Yes, it would be quite simple to manipulate.
So you could create the missing gender.
That wouldn't serve any purpose, but it would be quite simple to select specific attributes in a lab-grown sample, although I can't see any reason why we should ever need to do that.
Yes, you're right. Boss would be very angry if we did something like that.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There's no need to slam the door, Michael.
It's not fair. You're always shouting at me.
I wasn't shouting. Just pointing out it's possible to shut doors without shaking the whole building.
You're so horrid to me. You treat me worse than a prisoner.
And make sure you do your homework.
I hate you!
I really don't know what's got into that boy.
He's a teenager. The hormones have started coursing through his veins and he wants to assert his authority. Surely you remember being like that.
Yes, but I wasn't responsible for the repair bills back then.
I'm sure it's difficult for him, being an only child.
Well, it just didn't happen for us, did it? And we're a bit too old now.
Well, actually, Chris, there's something I've been trying to work out how to tell you.
What's that then?
Are the drains blocked again?
You've been trying to tell me about the drains?
I'm glad they are going to have another puppy. It was really difficult extracting it this time.
How do you know there's going to be another puppy?
Its mate has been trying to tell it for several days now. I can't work out whether it really hasn't realised, or maybe this is part of some elaborate ritual, pretending not to know.
How does the mate know?
It visited a place known as the Doctor's. This place appears to be some sort of ritualistic torture. The humans have to wait for many hours in something called the waiting room. Eventually, they are granted audience with some primitive medical practitioner, who then carries out a rudimentary test, which gives the results in a few minutes.
Perhaps it is a form of penance.
I thought about that at first, but now I think it's just the way they organise things.
Wouldn't it be much more efficient to schedule these visits at a time when the medical practitioner is available?
It appears humans have not yet developed the ability to properly schedule their time.
Why did you not extract our human when the mate was at the Doctor's?
Unfortunately, the mate wished to keep the visit to the Doctor's as a secret, and so waited until it was at a place called the Job.
The Job?
That is what humans call their place of work.
I assume you are recording all these details?
Yes, this is just the sort of boring information Boss would be interested in.
Humans are so tedious.
I'm exhausted.
Well, it is gone 2 in the morning.
That was one spectacular fireworks display.
I wonder if it will become a regular thing.
That dome exhibition wasn't much cop, though.
It was nice of your sister to look after Andrew for us. It's the first time we've had a chance to go out, just the 2 of us, for a decade.
Yes, she's not that bothered with New Year anymore.
A new millennium, eh? I wonder what's in store for us.
Have you thought any more about early retirement? It won't be long before Andrew is old enough to look after himself, and we can start taking those far-away holidays we've always dreamed about.
What was that?
What?
I thought I saw something go past the window.
I can't see anything. It must be your imagination.
No, I'm not going crazy.
Anyway, I'm turning in. You're tired. Go to bed.
I'll be up in a few minutes. I'm just going to get my cocoa.
You and your cocoa. You never miss it.
What took you so long?
The humans were having some form of celebration. It was a while before I could get our specimen alone.
What were they celebrating?
It's very odd. They were celebrating the start of the 2000th Earth year since the birth of someone called Jesus.
Why?
He is central to one of their major religions. He was martyred by the Romans for breaking their laws.
The Romans?
Yes, they were a very efficient society, which ruled a large part of Earth whilst we were en route from home.
But if the Romans had a very efficient society, surely the humans should be celebrating the Roman, not one of their enemies.
Yes, well, humans look at things differently to us.
Obviously so.
They didn't even get the year right.
Isn't it magnificent?
Yes, quite stunning. I've always wanted to visit here. I'm so pleased I took early retirement so we're able to enjoy a holiday like this while we're still sufficiently mobile.
Don't talk like that. You'll still be going strong for years.
I wasn't feeling too well yesterday when we visited that museum in Cairo.
I'm sure it was just something you ate. You seem fine now.
Maybe. But I did pass out when I was in the museum toilets. Mind you, there was an awful smell in there.
I was quite worried when they bundled us all out of the museum whilst you were still in there. I tried to explain I had to wait for you, but I couldn't make the guard who was leading me out understand. I wonder what all the fuss was about.
I heard someone talking about it at the hotel last night. Apparently an extremely valuable painting by Van Gogh was stolen.
Why is that here? I saw it when I collected our pet human. I like it.
Yes, but you should have returned it when you returned the human. You could easily have replicated it.
I tried, but the humans had already noticed it had gone. They have plenty of others, so I don't suppose they'll miss it that much.
It's not going to be much of a Christmas this year.
Dad said you could come and spend Christmas with us.
No, I want to stay here. I'll feel closer to her somehow.
I can come here then, if you want.
No. You should be with your mum and dad.
Are you sure?
Yes. I can't believe she's gone. We were together over 50 years.
Oh, Grandpa.
Extraction will be easy this time, as soon as the other one has gone.
No.
No?
No. It is not appropriate. We won't extract him this time.
Him?
I think we should allow him time to grieve. He has lost his mate.
It's just a bit of wildlife. You've never been bothered about this sort of thing before.
Well, I am now. We'll just observe from afar for a while.
It looks a bit odd.
He is now in a period of development humans call old age. The body function starts to deteriorate.
That's putting it mildly.
The joints are damaged, which reduces mobility. Muscle mass reduces, senses deteriorate, eyesight, hearing.
What about brain function?
Brain function can reduce in some humans, but this one does not appear to be suffering from that.
Do you know why?
It appears to be partly environmental and partly genetic. We seem to have chosen a human genetically predisposed to not suffer from failing brain function. It's a pity.
What is?
Well, it would only need a few minor genetic edits to almost completely halt this aging process.
I think it's a bit late to attempt that sort of edit on this sample.
Yes, I wonder.
It's the proximity detector. What could be out there?
The humans have started playing with their toy rockets again. I thought they couldn't be bothered with their moon.
Typical. They made 9 visits in the space of 5 of their Earth years. and then nothing but automated probes for ages. I thought we'd be safe parking here for the rest of our mission.
As soon as we've returned our pet human, we should relocate to the fourth planet of this system.
It's going to be a tedious commute.
It doesn't take that long, and it's not like we've got anything else to do. Besides, it'll be ages before they manage to venture out that far.
It just gets worse, doesn't it?
Yes, he really is deteriorating quite rapidly.
We'll have to find another specimen for study.
You are correct, but we should remain more detached in future.
We?
I suggest we choose several test specimens, but only observe them remotely, rather than bringing them here for detailed study.
Yes?
We have learnt sufficient details about the human genome from this and previous specimens we have tested.
I still don't understand what use that information is to us.
Well, if we needed to adjust certain attributes of the species, we would easily be able to do so.
And why would we need to do that?
If the humans continue to cause significant changes to their environment, it may be necessary to adjust their genome to cope.
Right. It's a proximity detector again. What could it be this time?
Oh no. These humans really are starting to progress quite rapidly with their rocket technology.
Oh, it's not that great. They still use burning of fuels for propellant.
Yes.
It must have taken them many of their months to get here.
Yes.
Perhaps we should have taken a wider view of what they were up to, instead of concentrating all our efforts on this specimen.
What? No. Boss made it clear he wanted us to directly monitor specimens.
Yes, but he probably never foresaw you getting emotionally attached to one. There's a problem.
What?
It appears to have ceased functioning.
Damn it, he's dead.
Shall we just return it to its accommodation?
No.
No?
I've become quite attached to our Mr. Taylor. Can't we clone him a new body?
I thought we were supposed to just observe.
Yes, but one little cloning couldn't hurt, could it?
I'm not sure Boss would be too pleased.
I'll deal with Boss. Do what I say. I am in command here.
Okay, I'll get the cloning kit out.
We need to make a few DNA edits.
Why?
Well, we've observed that humans with certain traits tend to live longer, so we'll make those adjustments.
But...
Also, fetch a few of Mr. Taylor's personal effects, so he has some familiar items when he comes round from the cloning.
Okay, I'll pop down in a while and fetch them.
And you need to collect a lobster.
A what? What are we going to do with Mr. Taylor? We can hardly return it to its accommodation. Other humans reside there now, and most of the humans it knew are now dead.
These humans do have ridiculously short lifespans, don't they?
Yes, but we can't keep it here.
Well, we can't return him to his home, and I'm not sure they would be able to cope with his genetic editing yet. They are not nearly technologically advanced enough.
So, shall we construct a storage facility somewhere?
Well, it can't be on Earth.
We will need a planetoid with a solid surface, an atmosphere, and reasonable gravity. There are not that many bodies in this star system which satisfy those criteria.
How about that moon around this ringed planet? I believe humans call it Titan.
Yes, we could construct a suspended animation facility there.
Apparently, They recently landed a probe there. They called it Huygens.
They do have some funny names for things, don't they?
It seems likely that it will take them a while before they have the technology to reach there. And when they do, they may be tempted to revisit this probe, especially if we arrange for a homing signal.
I've located the probe. It's a funny little thing.
Once the suspended animation facility is complete, place him in there, along with his personal effects.
And I suppose we ought to find it some clothing. Humans seem to get all bothered when they have no clothes on.
Yes, that's a good idea. Which reminds me, shall we go to the mating hall later?
Oh, sir, I thought you'd never ask. I'll go and fetch Burke.